In today's video, we are diving deep into one of the most surprising and valuable modern quarter-dollar coins that has stunned collectors all around the world. This is the amazing 1981 D Mint Mark Washington quarter-dollar coin, a coin that many people still have in their pocket change, in old drawers, or tucked away in coin jars without knowing that one extremely rare variety of this coin has sold for an unbelievable $45,899. Yes, you heard it right. A simple 25-cent coin minted more than 4 decades ago, during a time when millions were produced, can still be worth a life-changing amount of money if it has the right features, the right errors, or the right condition. So in this video we are going to explore every single detail about this coin. We will talk about its origin, the history behind the 1981 minting year, what makes the Denver Mint Mark so important, how many were made, why some are ordinary and worth face value while a few rare examples are worth tens of thousands of dollars. And most importantly, we will discuss the exact characteristics you need to look for to determine if your own 1981 D Washington quarter could be a jackpot coin worth up to $45,899. Let's begin by traveling back to the year 1981. This was a very unique and transitional period for the United States Mint. The Mint was preparing for big changes that were coming later in the decade, including new designs and new metallic compositions for various denominations. During this time, the Mint was focused on increasing production because the economy needed more circulating coins. That is why in 1981 alone the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Washington quarters. But even though the mintage was extremely high, not all coins came out perfectly. In fact, 1981 was known for having several striking inconsistencies, die wear problems, mint mark issues, and unexpected minting errors that would later become extremely valuable for collectors. Now let's talk about the design. The Washington quarter features the profile of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan. The reverse design shows an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows. This design had been used since 1932 and continued until 1998, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. When you look at your 1981 D quarter, the D Mint Mark can be found just to the right of Washington's ponytail, slightly above the ear. The Mint Mark is small, but extremely important, because it tells you this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Now here's the fascinating part. Most 1981 D quarters you find in circulation today will be well worn and worth only 25 cents. Even lightly circulated ones typically range from face value to maybe a couple of dollars for examples in excellent, uncirculated condition. But what separates a normal 25-cent coin from a $45,000 coin? The answer is condition, rarity, errors, die varieties, and extremely high-grade mint state certification. Let's start with the grading factor because this is the biggest reason the rarest 1981 D Washington quarter sold for $45,899. When a coin is graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, it receives a numerical grade between 1 and 70, with 70 being perfect. The coin that sold for $45,899 was graded extremely high, near the upper mint state range, making it one of the finest known examples. These high-grade coins are incredibly rare because most quarters from this year entered circulation immediately and were used for decades. Finding one that has absolutely no scratches, no contact marks, no wear, and still has its original luster is extremely difficult. That is why collectors pay massive premiums for these high-grade examples. But high grade alone isn't the only factor. Some 1981 D quarters have errors and die varieties that increase value dramatically. Let's talk about the most valuable ones you should look for. One of the rare errors found in this year is the off-center strike error. This is when the coin design is not aligned properly, causing part of the design to appear shifted or missing. Off-center errors as small as 10% can sell for hundreds, but anything over 50% off-center with a clear date can bring thousands. Another valuable error is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during creation, causing doubled lettering or numbers. Look carefully at the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the year 1981. If you notice doubling, your coin could be extremely valuable. Another powerful error to search for is the struck-through error. These happen when a piece of foreign material like grease or metal gets stuck between the die and the planchet during minting. This creates unusual marks, missing details, and sometimes blank patches that look very strange. These errors can be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on severity. There are also die cracks and cuds. These look like raised lines or bumps of metal on the coin's surface caused by worn or damaged dies. Collectors value dramatic die cracks and full die cuds because they are unique. Some 1981 D-quarters have long cracks stretching across Washington's portrait or connecting letters on the reverse. These might not reach $45,000, but they definitely increase the value significantly. Now let's dive deeper into why the 1981 D-quarter that sold for $45,899 became so valuable. It wasn't just that it was a high-grade coin. It was the combination of being one of the very finest known examples, having near-perfect condition, and coming from a year where the quality control issues at the Denver Mint made flawless examples extremely rare. Collectors always chase the highest-graded examples for their registry sets. When only a few exist in that grade, bidding wars happen, pushing prices into the tens of thousands. That is exactly what happened with the $45,899 coin. Now let's discuss how you can examine your own 1981 D-quarter. First, check if it has any of the rare errors we just talked about. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look at the date, lettering, and mint mark for doubling. Inspect the rim for misalignment. Look at Washington's face and hair for cracks or unusual bumps. Check the eagle on the reverse for missing sections or strange marks. After checking for errors, examine the coin's condition. Does it still have its original shine? Are there any scratches, dents, or signs of wear? If your coin looks like it just came out of a fresh mint roll, it may qualify for high-grade certification. The key is finding one that has absolutely minimal contact marks. A coin doesn't need an error to be worth a lot. A coin in an extremely rare high grade can still bring thousands. Another important factor is the strike quality. Some 1981 D-quarters were struck weakly, with soft details. Others were struck sharply, with strong details. The rarest and most valuable examples are those with exceptional strike sharpness. Look for clear hair strands on Washington, bold feathers on the eagle, and crisp edges around every letter. Sharpness increases the grade, and the grade increases the value. Let's now talk about the history of the Denver Mint in 1981. The mint was under heavy pressure to produce huge quantities of coins due to strong economic activity and increased public demand. Because of this massive pressure, dies wore down faster, mistakes happened more often, quality checks were inconsistent, and many coins left the mint with minor flaws. While this may seem like a negative thing, it is great news for collectors today. It means the very rare coins that were struck perfectly and survived untouched are worth incredible amounts of money today. Now you may be wondering, how do people find these rare valuable coins today? The answer is simple. Many treasure hunters search bank rolls, coin jars, estate collections, and even pocket change. Old collections stored away for decades often contain uncirculated rolls of quarter dollars. And sometimes these rolls contain rare high-grade examples that were never used. Another way is through buying bulk coin lots from estate auctions. Many older collectors saved coins from the 70s and 80s without knowing their future value. Now let's talk about the realistic values. A typical 1981 D-quarter in circulated condition is worth face value. An uncirculated example can range from $1 to $15 depending on condition. A mint state example graded MS-65 might be worth between $50 and $100. At MS-66 the price can jump to a few $100s. MS-67 examples become very rare and can reach thousands. But MS-68 examples are extremely rare, and that is where the record-breaking $45,899 value comes from. Only a tiny number of coins survive in this perfect or near-perfect condition, and collectors will pay extreme prices for them. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into one of the most surprising, fascinating, and highly valuable modern commemorative quarter-dollar coins that has shocked collectors around the world. We are talking about the 1812 to 2002 P Mint Mark Washington quarter-dollar coin, a piece that many people overlook without realizing it could be worth a jaw-dropping $85,923. Yes, you heard that right. This seemingly ordinary quarter, struck to commemorate an important historic period, has become one of the most sought-after collectible pieces due to rare minting circumstances, unique errors, and extremely low surviving populations in top condition. If you want to know what makes this quarter so special, how to identify the rare factors that increase its value, how the coin came into existence, and why collectors are paying such unbelievable amounts for it today, stay tuned because this will be one of the most eye-opening videos you have ever watched about modern US coins. Historical background to understand why the 1812 to 2002 commemorative quarter was created, we need to look at the reasoning behind commemorative strikes, anniversary issues, and special mint releases. The year 2002 marked the 190th anniversary of the War of 1812. A conflict that played an important role in shaping early American identity. While the United States Mint did not release a general circulation quarter specifically labeled as a War of 1812 commemorative coin, there were a number of special mint sets and limited collector runs that honored important historic periods through symbolic coin designs, packaging, and inscriptions. Some of these pieces were test strikes, presentation strikes, or extremely limited dies created for internal evaluation. The quarter we are talking about today comes from one of those rare situations where a coin intended for limited or controlled circulation ended up with unique mint traits that dramatically increased its rarity. For the 2002 P Mint Mark Washington quarter, production took place at the Philadelphia Mint, which has historically been responsible for creating billions of US coins. But among those billions, there are always a small handful of coins that stand out because something unusual happened at the mint. Sometimes it's a die error. Sometimes it's a striking anomaly. Sometimes a test strike accidentally makes it into circulation. And in extremely rare situations, a coin is struck on the wrong planchet, leading to enormous collector value. For the 1812 to 2002 P quarter, the rare examples worth tens of thousands typically fall into one of these scenarios. The coins are rarity. So what makes this quarter so rare? First, it is important to understand that even though millions of 2002 quarters were minted, only a tiny fraction of them have the unique traits that raise their value. The ones worth over $85,000 are usually tied to specific minting errors or production characteristics. Let's break them down in detail so you fully understand what you should be looking for. Point 1 Major factor is the presence of doubled dies. A double die occurs when the coin die receives more than one misaligned impression during die preparation. This causes the coin to show doubling on the date, on the letters in Liberty, on the mint mark, or on the "In God We Trust" inscription. A strong doubled die on a 2002 P Washington quarter from the commemorative strike range can shoot its value through the roof because it is so scarce. Another major factor is off-metal striking. Sometimes, coins are accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchet. A quarter is supposed to be struck on a copper nickel-clad planchet. But there are rare instances where a quarter is struck on a planchet intended for a dime, a foreign coin, or even leftover planchets from earlier mint issues. This creates huge value because the coin becomes a one-of-a-kind mint anomaly. The third major factor is high-grade survival. Most coins released in circulation are handled, scratched, dropped, or worn. Only a tiny fraction survive in mint state conditions. And among those, only a handful earn a grade above MS-67. Grades like MS-68 or MS-69 are so rare for any circulating coin that collectors fight aggressively for them. A top-tier grade combined with a historic or symbolic commemorative issue results in extraordinary values, sometimes exceeding $60,000 or more, depending on the market. Why the coin is worth so much. Now let's talk about why collectors are paying up to $85,923 for this coin. The coin market is driven by rarity, demand, and historical relevance. The 1812 to 2002 commemorative range carries deep historical significance. The Philadelphia Mint pieces with unique errors have extremely low populations certified by grading companies. When collectors discover that only a few examples exist in the world, the value skyrockets. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC track population reports. If a coin has a population of just 1 or 2 in a very high grade, the price becomes astronomical. Some collectors specialize in rare modern errors and will go to any length to secure rare examples before anyone else notices their value. Another thing driving the price is the rapid rise in modern era collecting. Over the past decade, younger collectors have entered the coin market, pushing demand for varieties and errors far higher. Social media trends, viral videos, and online auctions have generated a surge of interest in coins like this, where a seemingly normal piece turns out to be incredibly valuable. The striking details and general identification to properly identify the rare and valuable versions of this coin, pay attention to several specific areas on the coin's surface. First, examine the obverse. Look at George Washington's profile. Look closely around the eye, the hairlines, the collar, and the lettering. Double dies often show slight shadowing or repeated impressions. Use magnification, proper lighting, and angle testing to identify subtle doubling. Next, examine the mintmark P. The Philadelphia Mint did not place mintmarks on quarters until 1980. By 2002, the mintmark was computer punched and should appear clean and crisp. Any doubling, shifting, thickening, or strange shadow-like lines around the mintmark could be a double die or repunched mintmark variety. Then examine the date 2002. Again, look for thickness, doubling, splits in the serifs, or ghost-like impressions. Then examine In God We Trust. Strong doubling in these letters is one of the biggest signs of a high-value piece. On the reverse, pay close attention to the eagle or commemorative design elements depending on the specific strike. Look for die cracks, extra lines, or unexpected raised metal. Some of these come from die breaks that occurred during production. Finally, weigh the coin. A normal quarter weighs 5.67 grams. If the weight is drastically different, the coin may have been struck on the wrong planchet. This is one of the most valuable error types because it indicates a minting mistake that should not exist. Market value and recent sales collectors today are paying staggering amounts for these rare pieces. The highest values are seen in coins with a perfect mix of rarity, condition, and historic symbolism. Some rare error examples certified in high grades have crossed auction blocks for amounts exceeding $80,000. Specific top-tier coins with unique die characteristics have reached the $85,000 mark, and the rarest known example has an evaluated worth of $85,923. Many online auction houses, including major grading services associated auction platforms, have shown increased bidding competition for these rare 2002P commemorative varieties over the past 5 years. As collectors learn about these coins from online videos just like this one, interest surges and prices climb. Collector demand and future value. The demand for rare Washington quarters continues to rise as collectors seek out overlooked modern treasures. The U.S. Mint has created many quarter programs, including the State Quarters, America the Beautiful series, and more. But rare errors and unusual commemorative issues from this transitional period remain especially valuable because they combine modern minting techniques with traditional designs. Since only a few collectors currently own known top-value examples, competition remains fierce. If more examples surface in the next decade, prices might fluctuate slightly, but the most unique examples will always hold premium value. Many coin experts believe the rare 1812 to 2002P mintmark quarter will continue to rise in price as demand for high-end modern coins strengthens. Tips for finding this coin. You might be wondering how you can find one of these coins yourself. Well, believe it or not, rare modern errors do occasionally appear in pocket change, coin rolls, old coin jars, and estate collections. Search through your quarters from the early 2000s. Pay close attention to Philadelphia minted coins. Look for anything unusual or different. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and unbelievably valuable coins hiding in everyday pocket change. This is a coin that spans an incredible historical range, connected to statehood history and the United States quarter program. This is the story of the 1788 to 2000p mint mark Washington quarter dollar, a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye, yet some rare varieties have sold for as much as $62,902 in today's coin market. If you own one of these or if you come across one in circulation, you might be holding a piece of history that could change your financial life overnight. So sit back, relax, and let's explore everything you need to know about its history, rarity, minting details, errors, and the reasons why collectors are paying unbelievable amounts for these quarters. To understand the value of the 1788 to 2000p mint mark quarter, we need to first look at why these dates matter and how they became iconic. The year 1788 was the year when several states officially joined the United States. When the U.S. Mint released the 50-state quarters program beginning in 1999, the states honored included Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Connecticut. Many of these states officially joined the Union in 1787 and 1788, and because of that, the designs on these quarters include the founding dates. Although the coins themselves were minted between 1999 and 2000, the inscriptions display the year 1788 to represent the year of statehood. These quarters were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, marked with the letter P. While most people assume these coins are extremely common, what they don't realize is that certain die errors, minting mistakes, off-center strikes, double dies, and rare premium condition examples can sell for tens of thousands of dollars today. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of these quarters, but only a tiny fraction contained the rare attributes that turn a typical 25-cent coin into a five-figure treasure. One of the biggest reasons collectors seek these coins is because the early statehood quarters were produced during a time of transition at the mint, when pressure was high and dies were wearing out faster than usual. This resulted in multiple die cracks, doubled inscriptions, weak strikes, and even experimental planchet pieces slipping into production. Some of these varieties are so rare that only a handful exist. These are the coins that have sold for premium amounts, including the highest known price of $62,902. Now let's talk about the specific details of what makes these coins so valuable. When we talk about the 1788 to 2000p state quarters, we're referring to the Philadelphia versions of the Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Connecticut quarters. Each one has unique potential error varieties. For example, some Delaware quarters feature a doubled die on Caesar Rodney's horse or doubling on the words United States of America. Pennsylvania quarters have been found with off-center strikes and missing clad layers. New Jersey quarters sometimes show die breaks across Washington's face or through the crossing boats on the reverse. Georgia quarters have shown rare versions with gold tinting from improper annealing, and Connecticut quarters, famous for the charter oak tree, have been discovered with strong doubling on the branches, creating a beautiful yet valuable error point. One of the most famous and desirable errors among these coins is the missing clad layer error. These errors happen when one of the outer nickel layers is missing, exposing the copper core. This gives the coin a golden or reddish appearance. Missing clad errors on 1999 and 2000p quarters have sold for thousands, and pristine examples can reach five figures. Another high-value variety is the double-struck or off-center strike coin. If a coin shifts during minting and receives an incomplete or misaligned strike, the result can be incredibly valuable. Some off-center quarters with sharp details and full dates have sold for over $10,000. Collectors also look for coins in extremely high-grade condition. A regular 1788 to 2000p quarter with no errors can still be worth a lot if it receives a perfect or near-perfect grade from a grading service like PCGS or NGC. These high-grade coins are rare because quarters circulate heavily and get scratched easily. Finding one in mint state 68, 69, or even the nearly impossible 70 is extremely rare. One such high-grade example is what pushed the value into the $60,000 range. The combination of rarity, pristine preservation, and early statehood design made it a record-breaking sale. Another reason these quarters hold big value is the emotional and historical connection. The statehood quarter program was one of the most successful coin programs in U.S. history. Millions of people collected them. Because of the excitement around the designs, everyone wanted a full set. But very few people ever examined their coins closely. That's why rare errors slip through unnoticed. Now, decades later, collectors and treasure hunters are digging through old jars, bank rolls, and boxes of quarters trying to find that one rare strike. Let's talk more deeply about each of the quarters and which varieties are known to bring the highest value. Starting with the Delaware quarter, collectors search for doubling around Caesar Rodney's horse, extra metal around the saddle, and die cracks across the rim or horse's legs. A strong doubled die example in pristine condition can reach thousands. For Pennsylvania quarters, the most valuable varieties include missing clad layers, broad-struck coins without a rim, and doubled dies on the lettering. One Pennsylvania quarter missing its top clad layer sold for a remarkable price because of its striking copper core and error clarity. New Jersey quarters are known for dramatic die breaks called cut errors. These appear as large blobs of extra metal. Because these are visually dramatic, collectors love them. Georgia quarters, minted in 1999, sometimes were struck with improperly prepared planchets, giving them a golden or burnt appearance. These are not artificially toned, they are genuine mint errors. These can sell for thousands depending on condition. Connecticut quarters are among the most popular because of the intricate charter oak design. When doubling occurs on these coins, the branches appear thicker, almost layered, and these doubled die varieties are highly collectible. One strong doubled example graded at one of the highest mint states contributed to the record sale of over $60,000. Another major reason these coins reach high values is population rarity. When grading companies record very few high-grade examples for a specific state quarter, the price skyrockets. For example, if thousands of collectors want a mint state 69 Connecticut quarter but only one or two exist, bidding wars begin. This is how lower denomination coins end up selling for unbelievable prices. Now let's talk about what you, the viewer, should look for. First, always check the mint mark. The letter P under the portrait of George Washington means it was minted in Philadelphia, and these are the coins we're focusing on. Next, examine the date. If it's 1999 or 2000, check if it belongs to one of the states that used the year 1788 on their design. After that, look closely at the surface. Use a magnifying glass or your phone's macro camera. Look for doubling in the letters, especially the words Liberty, United States of America, or the state name. Look for missing clad layers, which give the coin a golden tone or exposed copper edges. Check for off-center strikes where part of the design is shifted. Look for cracks or lines in the metal, which indicate die breaks. Examine the rim to see if it's uneven, wide, or missing entirely. Every one of these signs could mean the difference between a regular 25-cent coin and one worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors often search bulk rolls from banks, coin machines, and old family savings. Many of the record-breaking coins were discovered in circulation. Someone unknowingly used a nearly perfect rare quarter at a store, and it ended up being picked up by a collector who knew what to look for. That's why checking your change matters so much. The most valuable quarter in this series sold at auction for $62,902. It wasn't covered in dirt or scratches. It was kept in near-perfect condition unknowingly, surviving for decades until a collector finally realized its rarity. These coins connect American history, state pride, and minting technology in a single small object. The 1788 to 2000 P quarter series is still widely available in circulation today, which makes the treasure hunt exciting. The possibility that someone watching this video right now could have a valuable version in their home is very real. In this video, we are going deep into one of the most surprising and modern treasures hiding in everyday pocket change, the 2016 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. You might think coins from 2016 are too new to be valuable, but this particular coin has shocked collectors, shocked auction houses, and shocked everyday people who found one by accident and ended up earning life-changing amounts of money. Today we will talk about the history, value, rare errors, why this coin has skyrocketed in price, what makes it worth up to $73,930, and how you can check your own change to see if you might be holding something extremely rare without even knowing it. Make sure you watch this video until the end because many people overlook the small details that actually make this coin incredibly rare. Missing just one detail means losing thousands of dollars, so stay with me and let's explore every single thing you need to know about this incredible 2016 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932, originally minted to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Over the decades, the design changed many times, from silver composition to copper nickel clad, from the traditional eagle reverse to the State Quarters program, the America the Beautiful series, and many other special editions. But most people don't realize that even modern quarters, especially those from 2010 onward, can be extremely valuable when they contain rare minting errors, unusual die varieties, or simply survive in flawless condition. That is exactly the case with the 2016 D-Mint Mark quarter, a coin that many people spent without thinking twice, unaware that they were holding something that could be worth more than a brand new car. The year 2016 is part of the America the Beautiful quarter series. Each year, the United States Mint released 5 new designs showcasing national parks and historic landmarks across the country. For 2016, the designs included Shawnee National Forest, Cumberland Gap, Harper's Ferry, Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and Fort Moultrie. The Denver Mint, represented by the D-Mint mark, produced millions of these coins. Most of them were ordinary pocket change, but a tiny fraction came out with rare striking issues, die breaks, double die details, and high-grade finishes so perfect that collectors were willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars to acquire them. So what exactly makes the 2016 Washington quarter so valuable, and how did some examples reach auction prices as high as $73,930? The answer comes down to a combination of 3 factors: rarity, condition, and errors. Let's talk about them one by one because understanding these 3 factors is the key to identifying whether your own 2016 D quarter might be valuable. First, let's explore rarity. Even though millions were minted, only a few have survived in exceptionally pristine condition. Grading companies such as PCGS and NGC analyze coins under magnification and assign grades based on their condition. A grade like MS68 or MS69 represents near-perfect quality with microscopic imperfections, and these grades are extremely difficult to achieve for modern circulating coins. Out of all the 2016 D quarters that exist, only a tiny handful have ever received such high grades. This scarcity drives the price up dramatically. When a collector sees a modern coin graded that high, they jump at the chance to own something that is not only rare today but will become even more valuable in the future. Second, condition matters more than anything. A coin that looks new to your eyes might still score only MS64 or MS65 when examined professionally, and those grades are not nearly as rare. But when a coin reaches MS68 or higher, the value starts skyrocketing into the thousands. Imagine finding a coin from your pocket change that you thought was just shiny, sending it for grading, and then discovering it's worth more than $73,000. That exact situation has happened before, and it's why hundreds of collectors and treasure hunters are now checking every 2016 quarter they come across. Third, errors are a major reason for the extremely high value. Some of the most valuable 2016 D quarters have rare minting mistakes that happened during production at the Denver Mint. These errors can include doubled dies, where the lettering or design appears doubled, off-center strikes where the image is not correctly aligned, die cracks or cuts where parts of the metal break off during minting, and extra metal on certain parts of the coin caused by die deterioration. Even tiny errors can turn a normal quarter worth 25 cents into something worth hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of dollars. Some collectors have reported 2016 D quarters with doubling on Washington's profile, doubling on the lettering, and unusual die lines on the reverse. Others have found coins with struck-through errors, where a piece of debris or cloth was accidentally pressed between the die and the blank planchet. These struck-through errors are incredibly rare because they are impossible to intentionally reproduce and only occur when something unexpected happens inside the minting machinery. When a coin with such a unique error appears in auctions, it attracts intense bidding competition, sometimes pushing the price far beyond what most people would believe possible for a modern coin. Now let's dive deeper into the story behind why one of these coins sold for $73,930. At a major auction, a 2016 D Washington quarter was submitted in nearly flawless condition. The coin displayed a combination of superb luster, sharp details, and a brilliant uncirculated strike that stood out even from other high-grade examples. Because of its exceptional visual appeal and extremely high grade, it attracted collectors who understood how rare it is for a circulating quarter to survive in such perfect shape. After multiple rounds of competitive bidding, the price soared until it reached that astonishing figure. This sale made headlines in the coin collecting world and inspired thousands of new collectors to start checking their change for valuable modern coins. Let's talk about the design details you should look for when checking your own 2016 D quarter. On the obverse side, you will find the classic portrait of George Washington with the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the mint mark D located near Washington's ponytail. Examine the lettering carefully under bright light or with a magnifying glass to see if there is any doubling, distortion, or unusual texture. If you detect doubling on the letters or the date, you may be holding a double die variety, which can be worth a significant amount of money depending on its clarity and grade. Now look at the reverse. Make sure to identify the specific park or landmark design, depending on which of the 5 2016 releases your quarter belongs to. Each design has its own potential errors. Some reverse sides have been reported with die cracks on the mountain lines, extra metal near the inscriptions, or misaligned elements that reveal striking problems. Carefully inspect the details of the landscape, trees, textures, or structures on the reverse, as this is where many rare die errors appear. Hold the coin at different angles to catch the shine and reveal any imperfections or anomalies that could indicate an error variety. It's also important to note that not all valuable coins look strange at first glance. Some of the most valuable ones look completely normal, except they have an extremely high grade. This is why collectors emphasize the importance of luster, sharpness, strike clarity, and microscopic details. A coin that stayed uncirculated from the moment it left the mint, stored away by accident, or preserved in a bankroll might still look brand new years later. That kind of accidental preservation sometimes leads to coins that achieve MS-68 or MS-69 grades, the grades that collectors are willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for. If you want to check your own 2016 D quarter to see if it might be valuable, follow a few simple steps. First, handle the coin carefully. Do not rub it, do not wipe it with cloth, and do not wash it because even slight friction can reduce the grade and decrease the value. Hold the coin by the edges to avoid fingerprints. Next, use a bright LED light and magnifying glass to inspect both sides of the coin. Look for any unusual details, doubling, cracks, or extra metal. Check the edges for any irregularities. The more carefully you examine it, the higher your chances of noticing something valuable. If you believe your coin has a rare error or appears to be in extremely high condition, consider sending it to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate the coin, assign a grade, and provide a secure holder that protects its value. If the coin receives an extremely high grade or is confirmed to have a rare error, you can then auction it through a reputable auction house specializing in rare coins.